Righty-roo, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inside Texas. I am your host, Jeff Michaels, and then the man, the myth, the legend, the guy. Right now, again, he's at the governor's mansion. That's where he's at now. He's at the governor's mansion, sitting there on his 1970s couch. I don't know if you knew this or not. It's an orange 1970s couch.
It's old.
Governor, it's old.
It is antique.
Antique, just like the governor. So there you go. He probably, from what I heard, he was born in that sofa. That's what I heard. All right, that just the news.
It's a rumor, but it could be true.
Yeah, I think I heard it on NBC, but whatever. It's a
MSNBC,
MSNBC, or what they like to, or the Republicans like to call BSNBC. I don't know if you know that.
Exactly. Well, we're all playing the role.
Yeah, we are. I want to thank everybody for sending me all the care wishes and stuff for being in the hospital. God said it's not my time yet. I still need to get tormented and teased and pushed around and do these shows and do radio. And my wife said, "Oh no, I don't care what you got to do. You can put a Briggs and Stratton pacemaker on him. He's got to go to work. That's what he's going to do."
And I was going to say, God probably has you a whole list of equipment fix.
Yeah, I went up to the pearly gates, sent me back down, and says, "Did you finish that guy's lawnmower?" I said, "No, get down, get back down there." Yeah, so.
Jeff, to start off, just a moment of appreciation and silence for our fire chief, Bay City Fire Chief, Randy Franz, passed away this weekend and had his funeral today. Very, very touching, and I think it just touched the entire. I know it touched the entire city. I know it touched the fire departments all over.
Yeah, it sure did. Yeah, and if you want to, we can take a moment of silence and for Randy Franz.
I appreciate that. Jeff, it was a great service. The Civic Center was full. A lot of the fire departments turned out, did a great job. It was a huge effort. Started Sunday morning. I got a call and make sure that we were ready today at the Civic Center, and felt like it was a great send off. 40 years is just a lifetime of service to the city and to us. Unbelievable servant, and we appreciated him. And followed up by Mike Finster, a solid Bay City Lion. He passed away as well this weekend. It's weekend of sadness, but also the weekend of celebration, because both of those young men are no longer in pain.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the way you got to look at it.
You do.
That's the way you got to look at it. And to be a public servant for 40 years, it's like, man, that's just, that's something else. So, hats off to him. I knew Mike really well. No, I knew Mr. Finster too, but I knew both of them very well. Both great guys, and they'll both be missed by the county for sure.
I'll tell you, Jeff, we're losing so many. I know it's a cycle of life. But you're just losing so many. I will tell you this, both gentlemen, I just pray that I've got the mental, I don't know, what's the word, mental capacity or mental ability to accept my faith with jokes and praise. And Mike, he was very, very religious, and and I'll tell you, the last time I saw him, and people are talking about that this weekend, but it came running up to me, and it was about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. And he came running up to me at Lions, and he grabbed my hand and he goes, "How are you doing?" he cared about me, even with all of his problems.
Yeah.
He cared about how I was doing.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of a true Christian.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. When years back, when I was doing stand-up comedy, a lot of places I was doing stand-up comedy on the East Coast, and all these fat comedians were falling over dead, and I used to get on stage and I used to say, I'm going to do this quick just in case something happens.
Yes,
let me get through my jokes quick before I fall over, okay?
No.
But yeah, and now you get to an age and you lay in a hospital like I did. I mean, 6 days, a long time in the hospital.
6 days, Jeff.
So I'm laying there and I'm thinking, man, is this it? And that's what you think because you're 60.
Right.
I'm overweight, underfed and overweight. That's what I always say, and it's like, man, I haven't been eating the right things my whole life. I've changed my whole style of eating and drinking and everything.
Lifestyle, brother.
Lifestyle. If you think, I haven't had one drop of sugar in 4 weeks, and every time I see a Reese's bar, I see it dancing in front of me. Oh, you want me? Oh, you want me? And that's what I see. But no, it changed. I feel better about that point. I don't have to worry about that. But it's always something else. It's something else coming, something like that. And you know what? It's like my wife says, you got to live life to your fullest the day that your eyes are open. When they go to sleep, you can't worry when you're asleep. You just be glad for every day that God gives you. So that's.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I still dream of flour tortillas. I can't have them, but I still dream of.
Oh, yeah.
Flour tortillas. That was eliminated, 2 years ago, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. The old flour tortilla trick. Yeah.
Yeah. Bread and pasta and sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And desserts and.
Yeah.
No, I'm there, brother. I've lived it. I'm with you.
And I'll tell you some of and I know we're just be talking about other stuff. The sugar, some of the new sugar-free stuff they got out there is very good.
Yeah.
The Sprite Zero, very good. I like Sprite Zero. Someone told me that the Dr. Pepper Zero is also very good. I don't know. You're a Dr. Pepper fan, so
I've taken a vow against the sodas, but I've never been a big soda fan. But
no.
I will tell you though, it's a culture change when you turn that curve. I used to say I was on a diet, and Carolyn reminded me. She said, diets are temporary. She said, you're eating this way for the rest of your life, dude.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But
okay.
Sweet tea, unsweet tea now, right there. Hold it. Where's it at? There we go. Back there. There it is. Unsweet tea.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
yeah, Jeff, it's a crazy world. I guess we're getting toward the end of summer.
We are getting close to the end of summer, and Andy and I have been speaking about the Gulf and the tribe. The water temperature right along the coast is 90, 91 degrees. It's crazy.
Oh, that's warm.
Middle of the Gulf is about 85, 87. It's just enough for things to stir up.
Jeff, is that because of the depth? So it's not as deep.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's not as deep.
As time goes on, as the currents churn up and stuff, that part of the ocean will warm up, probably to about the high 87, 88 degrees. Okay. Like it did last year. Last year it was 88.8 degrees. That's the highest it got in the middle of the Gulf. Then where these storms form off the coast of Africa and stuff, those water temperatures still are in the low 80s. So they're 83, 84 degrees. But they are starting to warm up. I check them once a week and see how they're going. They're raising about a degree and a half a week. So you figure about 2, 3, 4 weeks, comes right in the peak of season. Boom, that's when everything comes up. 85, 86, 87 degree temperatures. Yeah. Along the like Venezuela and Aruba and down that way, just north of that area where those storms track, that water temperature starting to get very warm. So we're looking for something. We're going to keep an eye on things in the Gulf and along the coast of the Atlantic coast, and we're going to keep our eyes in the tropics. This is the time we need to start. So I want to remind everybody again, everything you need to know or everything you want to know here in Matagorda County, I got it on one page, and that's gcor1.com. Everything is there, everything.
Right.
So, whatever, something breaks, so we got breaking news, or we got all that stuff. Plus, we're working with another radio station right now to be able to broadcast those emergencies when a storm comes along. We're very close to finishing up everything, so we'll have that coming along. And next week we'll have.
You just can't say enough that now's the time to prepare. I mean, so many times you hear of rumors. There's a storm in the Gulf, and they go to the grocery stores, and they wipe the water out of off the shelves, and now's the time to be planning and thinking about.
Yeah, don't be looking at all those Facebook scare tactics and this and that. Those are guys to get likes and listeners. That ain't going to happen. We like we said, we always dot our I's, cross our T's down here. We'll work with the emergency management, the National Weather Service, the Hurricane Center, all those guys. And I think we got a pretty slap crew with Andy Kirkland, myself, Dan Riley, who's working with us now on the radio station and stuff. So yeah, we're really good with.
And you mentioned the experience now at the League City Weather Service. I did have the opportunity at this last go round of that low. It wasn't a depression. It wasn't even a storm, but that low that came off of the Florida coast in that Friday night, we did get some tropical rain. I will tell you that. I think we ended up in Bay City with in excess that one Friday night, probably 6, 7, 8 inches.
Yeah, it got pretty busy. Yeah.
It was quite wet. That was 3 weeks ago, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So this 3 weeks ago, the first one that came through. Okay. The first low, the first tropical depression low, whatever it's supposed to be. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but it's supposed to rain again on Friday, and it is from that same low.
Is this the third time around?
Third time, and it's the first time in history that's happened.
Okay.
Andy and I were talking about that today. The first time in history it's happened. So there you go. I don't know. That's just weird. It just
it dumped. Friday night, it dumped a tremendous amount of rain. Not only in Matagorda County, but Southeast Texas.
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did. All right. Without further, he popped up. There he goes. Look at that.
All right.
Without further ado, let's bring on, this man, city council member, but now running for the governor for the great state of Texas, Ben Flores. Ben, how you doing, brother?
I'm pretty damn good. How about y'all?
Well, good. I don't know. I'm doing okay. I don't know about Mitch, though. I don't know. I look at
him. I'm in the governor's mansion.
That's right.
Before long that you'll let me stay in the governor's mansion.
Absolutely. We definitely need that. Somebody to kick the riffraff out.
Now that's allegedly. I could also be in Fredericksburg, Texas.
Could be. That's it. That's
getting ready for a Lions Club event. Ben, you're a Lion, and we've got our Lions Club, our Lions Camp activities this week, and so it's a fun time. But congratulations on your pre-announcement.
Thank you.
You file now. Is it November the 30th?
The official paperwork is done. In order for me to speak about it publicly, you got to do the appointment of the treasurer, and that was done.
Your treasurer. Now, tell me who your treasurer is.
At the moment, it's me. Just you're more familiar with political endeavors. There's all these nuances to it.
Okay.
And I've learned they tell you, whatever name you put in there, you got to be careful because reputations and there's all this scrutiny that goes that I'm still just learning.
Well, that's the reason I picked my wife and asked her to be the treasurer because she handles everything anyway. So she might as well have taken care of my campaign. So
it's the same thing here. My wife is my CFO. So I submit my budget request to her.
That's exactly right. Well, congratulations. That's quite an accomplishment. I saw that your announcement, of course, you're right up in the Texas Monthly.
Yes,
And so congratulations on both counts.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You probably remember Texas Monthly had written an article regarding our ongoing saga here
Right.
with with the right to farm.
Yes.
And
yes.
in just talking, it just came up, and I'm like, would you guys be interested? And that's how things work out.
Sure. No, absolutely. Well, that sounds great. So statewide elected office, and you chose the governor. Quite a especially against Abbott. Now you are filing on the Democratic ticket.
That is correct.
Do you feel like that's going to be a crowded field, or what's the scuttlebutt in the Democratic Party?
Well, so even though announcements are starting to happen, as you know, technically campaign season doesn't really get started until was that early September-ish?
Yes.
Right. So we're still expecting somebody with a recognizable name statewide may announce. I'm not saying that I know of anybody, but you may be aware of certain names out there.
Right.
But aside from that, yes, right now I'm familiar with a few here, Democratic, Dallas, Houston, East Texas, and a few other candidates as well.
And I'm assuming, and just for the folks that are watching us, there'll be a Green Party candidate, there'll be a Libertarian Party candidate, and
yes,
and so the makeup by the time we get into the March primary will be, because that's when your election is. It'll be in March.
Correct.
And then, of course, for those that are listening, the November election, 2026, will be electing the Democratic, Republican, and then I guess Libertarian and Green Party candidate will be on the ballot.
Correct. It is again. I learned quite fast, right? But it's still political campaigns in Texas are, I guess just in general, they're very interesting. I guess my wife says I overuse that word, but if you think about it, regardless of the party, let's just stick with the two-party system right now.
Sure.
You have to rile up your base enough,
right,
for the primary March, and then you have to hopefully not switch gears too bad that you're still a viable candidate by the time you get to the general election. And I do believe that the issues that I bring forth that that do apply and affect all Texans.
So just kicking us off, Ben, what are your top two? What's the top issue that you're really your burning desire? I know what mine were when I ran for state rep. What are those? What is that burning issue that you want to get out there and draw attention to?
That is a really tough question to answer with like a single thing. You are very familiar with one of the whole voucher war that we had during the regular session, right?
Yes.
It's important to me to address that. If you've heard me talk, I'm somewhat of a stickler to the principle. And the Texas Constitution says one thing, and I'm like, hey, we have that requirement to provide a top level education. And in my opinion, all the hoops and tiger somersaults that the legislature made to justify it, labeling it as school choice, I think is I don't think it was a good argument, in my opinion. It's a lot of money that goes into school vouchers, and to be honest with you, the projections, it's exponential. It's not like, okay, we're just going to do this X, Y, Z. It's just exponential. And to me, I mean, I'm going to give Republicans a little bit of a hard time here. Talk about fiscal conservative, right? It's like, wait, don't you guys like predictability in how you spend money? All of a sudden, this thing just goes like that, right? And so that is one thing. But as a councilman, I have to say that Texas and its infrastructure is just we are not doing nearly enough. Okay. And I mean, you're in business dev, right? And you see it. You see companies that want to come to, whether it's our area, whether it's the state. Yeah. You know, there's checklist of things that they need to do.
Right.
We want to keep attracting these employers. And, you know, they got to have power. They got to have water. They got to have, houses for people to live in. And when you spend so much time worrying about what people read or don't read, or worrying about bathrooms.
I know.
Right? And if you put that much time into these things, right? The wait time to get, for a company to receive power, this is 24 to 36 months.
It is.
How are we going to continue the growth that we have in this state, right? If we don't have those basic things. So it's not only just for companies. That's not really my whole shtick, but it's really for the people, right? We still live here. You still want clean water for tomorrow, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I'm torn to answer your question. I'm torn between taking back education, right? I don't want to just throw money at it for the sake of it. I want to really have good outcomes on it. But infrastructure, right? Infrastructure. Whether it was broadband, I mean, we have a lot of underserved communities.
Yeah.
Do I have a perfect plan? No, but I felt it was. You and I had this conversation,
right?
I felt it was a little underserving to Texans to have returned that money that the controller sent out. And so I defer or I digress with him, but infrastructure overall, among other things.
Okay. Tell me a little bit now. I feel like it's a hot topic in the legislature. The Democrats are really pushing back hard on redistricting. What is your take on this mid 10-year redistricting? We redistrict every 10 years after the census. We did 2021, which the numbers were late. We did 2023. Now here we are, 2025, talking about, if I understand right, 5 particular districts. A little bit of the controversy about Trump wanting 5 more Republican seats. What is your take on this redistricting? And I'm going to say it this way. The redistricting discussions in the Senate, because I haven't heard any discussions in the House yet. What's your take?
Man, that's such a deep rabbit hole. The real answer is I'm all for accountability and transparency. I do believe that the original intent of redistricting is to serve the people, right? To that they're well represented. That at the base level, you need to have representation.
Well, right? It's the same at the city level, right, Ben? City, county, it's all the same. We all redistrict. Well, Matagorda hasn't redistricted, but it's even representation. I got you.
Correct. So as population changes, right? Of course, the system has to adapt to that. And that's the ideal, right? I would be in full support of an independent commission.
Okay.
Right. That it handle it. I mean, my background's in cybersecurity. We can do a whole bunch of data analytics, right? That'd be my ideal world. Now, why are we doing it? Well, I mean, you touched on it in a few points. It comes at the behest of President Trump. I think if I was a Republican, I'd be like, man, what are you guys doing? What does that say? You're killing me, Smalls. Come on, right? I've seen some of the proposed maps, and if you look at Texas 18, that's Louisville all the way up to almost close to Wichita Falls. It just makes absolutely no sense, right? And I get, right, they're not supposed to be racially based, they can be party based. Hey, you don't want to rig the game. That's what people are calling it. But at least be honest about it. At least I think Paxton just came out today saying, yeah, no, 2021 was not racially based. So he disagreed with the letter that the governor received. Listen, Mitch, at the end of the day, I don't support it for the reasons proposed. I think it should be an independent commission. It should. I'm in support of a participatory type society, which instead of just having parties represented there, perhaps having a citizen representation as well. And when population changes, then we look at it, right? Whether it's mid-cycle, whatever that cycle is, right? But it has to be fair and just for everybody.
So, Ben, what are your plans? It costs a lot of money to run for any office. City council, I don't care what it is, it still costs money besides your filing fee. You've got. So, what are your plans? Any big plans coming up for fundraisers? What's the budget look like? I know you talked about your wife being the CFO. What's the budget look like? What are the plans for? Beto O'Rourke ran a pretty, I'm going to say, in my opinion, a pretty effective campaign against Cruz several years ago by traveling in his old pickup truck to all 254 counties and got within striking distance of Cruz for U.S. Senator. What's the plans as far as the financial side of your campaign?
Admittedly, it is a very daunting number, right? The report just came out. Was it last week? The week prior, he had Abbott had $83 million, cash on hand, and he had just raised 20, right?
Yes.
I was going to start with the answer. Well, I have some bacon in the freezer that we can be selling, and that should cover me a trip to Sugarland.
I gotcha.
At the end of the day, this is pretty much a grassroots campaign, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. I'll be doing call time, which for those of you that are not adept to the intricacies of campaigns, that just means getting up the Rolodex and starting calling people and basically dialing for dollars, right?
Right.
I'll be doing that, right? I do reaching out to traditionally Democratic aligned groups that could donate as well. Now, the thing here though for me is I don't really need to outspend Greg Abbott, right? Okay. My message is very clear and very consistent. Okay. I don't want to do this, what I call civil war that the governor has with Texas cities. That every legislature, they're trying to do something to, curtail the city, home rule, right? To curtail that. That's what makes Texas, right? So my message is going to be very simple. So instead of the governor coming up with you can't do that. You're going to do it this way, that way, and the other way. Instead of that, my approach is, what can we do to help you?
Okay.
Plain and simple. My message is going to revolve around that. So my fundraising from a Democratic perspective, that's going to be it. Plain and simple. I am not interested in Republicans bad, Democrats good. Your R, my D, blue, red. I'm not going to do that. As a council, being at large, you see me get involved in answering people online. I don't care, what your affiliation is. I think the message, it's what's going to make the difference. And that's what I want to push for. And again, I don't need to outspend them.
Years back, I don't know if you know Senator Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania. I worked for him and helped him campaign when he was running for state representative. the first off. And the one thing he did say, because he didn't have a lot of money and he was young and stuff, he says, big fish still bite on small bait. Meaning, if you have a little bit of money, you can go far with that little bit of money. You're still going to catch a big fish. Also, the message has to be clear, and it has to be honest, and it has to be transparent, like you said. I think we're losing transparency in our government. I think also we've gone so far right and so far left that there's no middle left. You have a few people that are hopeful in the middle. Also, that are going, I don't know which way to go, because you're getting so much bull from one side and so much bull from the other. You sit there and wonder, God, am I going to get through this? Am I going to get through the next 4 years or whoever it is here? The other thing I want to say, Ben, is, everybody it's bothering me a whole lot. Republican and Democrat is not a religion. That's a party. And a lot of people take it as a religion. If you're not Republican, you're going to hell. If you're not Democrat, you're going to hell. It's getting to the point where it's ridiculous. We need to have back again, which we used to have, good Christian values and more bipartisanship between both parties. And we lost it. It's gone because of finger pointing and saying that we ain't going to do this, and money and back and forth, and all this money coming in from all kinds of different people. Hey, I need your vote to do this. Here's $8 million. Here's this and that. I think that needs to stop. We really, I'm worried for my kids. I'm sure Mitch is worried about his grandkids. I'm worried about my grandkids too. Not me anymore. I got 10, 15 good years left. Mitch has got 100 left. He keeps going forever and ever. He's like the Energizer Bunny over there. But it's ridiculous. And I've often had people say, I had a former mayor that said, Jeff, you need to run for mayor. I said, I ain't running for mayor. There ain't no way I'm running. Well, you got good ideas and good advice. I ain't running for mayor. I was a councilman. That's it. I ain't doing it no more. I was a councilman up in Leon County. I ain't doing it no more. You're fighting with people who have the same idea but a different answer, and it doesn't work. You have to sit and hash things out and not hate each other. Oh my God, the hate. And the kids see this. It's blaming on your TV every day. Hate this person, don't like this person, throw a shoe at that person, throw bombs at this person. It's ridiculous. We lost what I feel in the United States altogether, even in the state of Texas. We lost patriotism.
Correct.
We lost patriotism.
I'll give you a quick story. And so basically, when people, I've had a few funny stories when people find out that I'm a Democrat in our area, they look at me like all of a sudden they discover that I have a communicable disease that will kill them within the next 24 hours. Well, they're like, it's okay. Like, I'm going to hospice. And I used that opportunity to tell them, I said, this is really what I think is wrong with today's day and age, right? That we cannot have a difference of opinions and be cool with each other, have our children go to the same school, go play in the park, be neighbors, right?
Right.
That's right. I see value in what was a traditional conservative Republican thought in the past. I see some value in some democratic values, right? I'm not a winner takes all. I'm not like that. That said, though, I will work with anybody that wants to improve the quality of life of Texans, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of background, whatever, right? Anybody that wants to have me, like ban THC. Like, I don't care what another grown adult does. I don't. I have so many other problems to worry about than what Mitch, I'm not saying you do, but like you do in your house, right? I've met with veterans. They come to me and they tell me, man, that's the only thing that helps me sleep at night.
Sure. No, that's right.
And so if we're going to be spending that much time in things like that, hell, that means we have a lot of other time to be fixing the bigger things.
Right. Yeah. No, that's right. So your city council, you've been there. Is it been? I know that 2 years. So what have you learned from your role as an elected official here in Bay City that you feel like translates into the state of Texas?
definitely you get this is where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
Right. And this goes, I've had so many people telling me, well, why don't you go for state rep first, do that 3-4 cycles, then, hey, you raise pigs, why don't you go for ag commissioner and then think about the governor? And I'm like, no. I mean, the moment you realize that there's something wrong, how long does it take you to do something about it? There's a water leak, there's a fire. Well, how long does it take you to it? So to me, I have a front row seat to every single policy, every single legislature that comes out of the Pink Dome, every single session, right? Or special session. Right. So I get to see, I mean, this last session was, what was that, HB 19, which was the bill to really restrict the ability of municipalities to issue certificates of obligation.
Yes.
Now,
which you just did for the public service building.
Correct.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
At first take, of course, I want people to be informed, being able to, be concerned as far as how the city spends their money and all that. But think about it for a minute, Mitch. If we took everything to the voters,
I know
everything, and we're trying to put whether it's a public safety building, a water treatment plant, water wells.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And then they were saying you could only take things now in November, right? That's one of the things that they wanted. I mean, like, seriously, guys, don't you guys there have anything else better to do?
Right. No,
so that's just one example. And to me, is like that having that experience, like I said, a front row seat, right?
Yeah, you've definitely had the front row seat. And I think through the last two sessions, the legislature, certainly with the lieutenant governor and the governor, and even the former speaker, which is a good friend of mine, was a good friend of mine. So I still consider him a good friend. It did seem to want to punish municipalities, and that is and not only municipalities but county governments as well. Right. There has been in the last 4 years a move that the state knows better, and they know better than the counties and the cities.
Correct.
And in fact, I will just say it, former Speaker Dennis Bonnen, in front of my wife when she was on council, said, well, if the cities don't accept it, we'll just shove it down their throats. And that is that's a thought process that's not partnerships, right?
Correct. Well, so I'll give you a quick example. You know that now I'm going to preface this with, I'm pretty certain that there's no Texan out there that says, ooh, property taxes, woohoo, I'm looking forward to that. Okay. I'm pretty certain that out of 30-something million Texans or however many own houses.
Right.
But you know that the cities are capped of how much they actually can raise, which is limited to 3% for those people that don't know. Any higher than that, you have to go to the voters.
Now, automatically have to go. Yes.
Now, that is a very, very arbitrary number. Initially, Greg, I would have wanted 2.5%.
Yeah.
Now, Mitch, I want to tell you this. The previous year, we're not done with this year's new budget.
Sure.
We only raised $111,000 more.
Okay.
The city has to pay the staff, their benefits, the facilities, the insurance,
fuel.
Correct. Communications. I mean, didn't we have the after barrel? We had to figure all this stuff out. Right?
Yes.
Now, am I saying, let's make it 10%? No, that's not what I'm saying. Right. Let the cities be cities. Let them manage themselves. They respond to the voters. Yeah, put some little bumpers, right? But it doesn't even freaking account for inflation.
Right. I know.
So why does the governor have to, reach into, I don't want to say pockets, but you get my point. And that's the thing that I would take back. You mentioned the 88th legislature, the whole Death Star bill, right? HB 2127.
Yes.
And that basically the one that created about, 900 new statutes out there that are further restricted cities.
Right.
Again, I think there's very few members of our state legislature that are former council, and when I've had conversations with them, they're like, "What are we doing?"
Yeah.
Right. But now you got, I mean, there's a certain side that they just can't speak up against it because they just get right.
Well, that does bring up a good point, Ben. So a lot in the Republican Party and the Democratic Party is dictated from what I would call appointed czars in both parties. Have you been in discussions with the Democratic leadership, and have they been giving you any edicts on which direction to go? Or here's what I feel like you are, knowing you the way I do. Are you more of an independent Democrat?
I would say I'm a practical Democrat.
Okay. All right.
This, we all know this. You just can't take 100% of like everything one side or one philosophy or one single approach, right?
Okay. All right. I agree. I was told, Ben, I just want to tell you, I was told I wasn't Republican enough when I ran, because I'm like you. I feel like I have my beliefs, I have my thought processes, and you're not going to dictate what I think. That's the reason I wanted to get your take.
Yeah. If you know how the political party structure works in Texas, basically the counties have actually a lot more power than the actual state party. The Republican Party is a little bit different, that they're changing the structure of how they disseminate their intentions.
Okay.
The Democrats are trying to figure out with their new leadership with Kendall Scudder, trying to have a more cohesive message.
Okay.
But up until the primary, there's not much coordination. There's actually pretty much zero coordination between my campaign and the state party.
Okay. But so they're not taking a position before the primary.
Correct. They will not.
So my other question is there any Democratic money for candidates, or do you have to wait until after the primary?
There are PACs that I'm aware of that have, I mean, you've seen it in the news, right? That there is a big support for Democratic candidates in contested areas. So I'm aware of that. But again, there's no official coordination until a candidate reaches out to them. And also there's no coordination, as far as I'm aware of, between those PACs and the actual state party.
I got you. This is an unfair question, and you can fuss at me later. Is there any Democratic support group that has reached out to you and said, "Hey, Ben, if you run," and you can tell me that you'd rather not answer, but is there any groups out there that have reached out and said, "Hey, if you run, we'll support you"?
Informally. Okay,
good. Well, that's fun.
I've been traveling. I've been getting around.
Yeah, you have. You really have. I hardly ever see you anymore. So
I had when I made an announcement at a certain group. As you can see, I'm usually not at a loss of words, but they made me choke up. It was very touching, and I received a lot of support from that. And it is one of those things that, on a personal note, that's sort of why I'm doing this. I mean, my history, Mitch. I don't have a trust fund. I don't. This story with my ranch, so it's not like I'm not Tyson here. And honestly, just looking to I told, why not wait, right? I think I mentioned it before. Honestly, there's almost said the S word. There's stuff. There you go. I'm gonna say it like that, right?
Hey, you could say shit. It's okay. Go ahead.
No, he can't. He can't as a candidate, John.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. I'll say it for you.
Well, I'm among friends. Okay, fine. Honestly, guys, there's a lot of shit that needs to be fixed right now.
Okay.
It's just it. That's why, to me, a lot of people, they they're like, oh, think about the future generations. Well, the tree that you plant today and all that, that's all fine and good. But you and I, we still need to get healthcare right now. You and I, we need to have our medical devices work the next storm. You and I, come December, you're going to be looking at renewal bills for your insurance for your home, right?
Right.
We've got to do that right now. Do we? And that's why I have that sense of urgency.
Well, Ben, one of the things that you live on the Gulf Coast, you pay TWIA insurance, Texas windstorm. Of course, that's one of my pet peeves. I'm on record thinking that the TWIA group, board, organization is worried too much about reinsurance rather than a financial stability over the next 10 years. I've got you. And that's the reason that I think those of us along the Gulf Coast need to pay attention to what you're doing, because you're one of us, right?
Correct. Which is why I'm worried about the future of FEMA. I have that. That's my insurance of last resort.
Sure.
Right. So what is it going to have? What did I call for? Something about the floodplain, about some building, whatever it was. I had some questions. The people, as you know, FEMA, they have different regions, right?
Yes.
Well, the staff at that level were all contractors, and their contract hadn't been renewed.
Oh, okay.
So you couldn't talk to anybody as far as floodplain management.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I got somebody's number, and she picked up, and the moment I said what it was, she's like, sorry, I can't talk to you. and it's not like I was like, hey, I just need to get my truck serviced. No, it was about, FEMA. That's the thing. The thing is, fine. If you come up with, hey, we need to transition because the program is not working, can we make it in an orderly fashion?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's been in place for how many decades? And all of us, I'm gonna throw a rock at Abbott, and all of a sudden Trump says, yeah, we're gonna cancel it at the end of the season. Okay, just like that, you're pulling the plug. Mr. Governor says, yes, we're ready, and then not even 2 weeks later, we have the disaster at with the flood in Kerr County. I'm like, Look at what happened. Yeah. Right. So that's one of my gripes. But at the end of the day, so bringing it back to the Gulf Coast, I absolutely agree with you. You're probably more familiar with there's for example, you can, as far as building requirements, you can look at, there's another different way to do roofing, for example, that doesn't cost that much more, but it really helps on your insurance. Could we make that mandatory? Could we have some, I don't know, state dollars towards that? Perhaps. But no, I trust me. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, crap, December, I'm going to have to looking at quotes again. And, like, what can we do? I think Mike Ferdinand from the Matagorda County Development Corporation. Yeah. He was saying that, Florida is doing, using different models and whatnot. I'm like, hey, maybe can we do more data analytics?
Yeah. Yeah. Mike and I have been to Austin and testified trying to roll out some relief, and it's really falls. When I tell you it falls on deaf ears, that's really not the truth. It doesn't even fall. It just they don't even acknowledge any of that. Texas is a big state. I've got to ask you, Ben, we're along the Gulf Coast, very familiar with you. I know you're from Austin originally. It's a big state. I'm one that doesn't believe that it's one size fits all, although it's one legislature made up of a lot of people, 150 in the House, 31 in the Senate. A lot of money too. Glenn Hager, now A&M chancellor, former. There's a lot of money out there, Ben. Do you have a plan for thinking about those excesses? Because we know you've lived it as I have. Those excesses aren't going to be around forever. How do we manage that whole process with today we have extra money, tomorrow we may not?
I think I touched on it at the beginning of the conversation. We're touted as the little big economic engine, right?
Yes.
And in order for us to continue that growth or have growth, in my opinion, we need to have people, good people, right? And then we have the companies, the jobs available for that. I touched on it that companies are waiting 2 to 3 years, for them to be hooked up.
I know.
I know. So let's just talk about power.
Okay.
I know that the preference is for gas turbines, right? To have natural gas plants.
Right.
There's a 3-year wait on the turbine alone from the manufacturer.
I know.
Let alone the permitting that has to happen at what's their name? Shoot, I just blanked out. There's not. Yeah. Well, that and that.
Or ERCOT as well.
They are exactly for interconnection approval and all that, right?
Yeah. Before you even get to put power on the grid, it's an 18-month process.
Correct. And there's companies that are coming to the state and they're basically just contracting with third parties to do their own power, behind the meter, what they call it.
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
Lyondale in our own backyard is doing that.
A lot of that is happening. Look, I've had conversations with state reps, Republicans, that they're like, look, we can't say this in public, but we're for all of the above. We like to see our mixed energy to be like everything. Honestly, we just can't grow without power. Period. We just can't.
That's right.
And man, the moment that the current Trump administration just canned all that green energy support, man, that was such a blow for Texas. And I wish the governor would have said something about it, because it wasn't widely known, but green energy in Texas was employing more people than oil and gas.
Wow, I didn't understand. I didn't know that.
And that is significant, right? I mean, the governor likes to tout that we're number one on job creation and power and all that. Why is it that we just take it all? Solar, geothermal, you just put it all on the table. Let's do it. It's like, why are you going to fight with Mike Tyson and you tie, one hand on your in your back? Why do you do that? So to me, that's a very short-sighted approach. That is partisan politics. That's something I just don't like at all. It's underserving for Texans. So how am I going to continue the growth, or how with the possibility of economic slowdown? I think is what you mentioned. I think the conditions. I'm in agriculture now, right?
Yeah.
The soil, the area, that has to be set right. For whatever you want to grow or for whatever you want to raise. You got to have enough water, enough power, enough soil and space, right? I know I'm making it very simplistic, but the same thing is like, hey, the state wants to continue, have that growth rate, whatever it is. What do we need? We need power, we need water, we need housing, and people need to be able to afford that. People need to be able to, get sick and not be bankrupted. Those be the things that I focused on. There's a lot of you're very familiar with the rainy day fund. Right?
Yes.
Why? I mean, I understand. Trust me, I'm very familiar with having a base reserve just in case, the brown sticky stuff is that, cooling thing up in the ceiling. But there's been a over the cap or over the required amount for a few years now. I mean, can we do something with that money? I know it's just for one-time expenses, but still, maybe that means instead of making it to the fund, it's allocated somewhere else before it gets there. Anyway, those type of conversations, I think they're not being had because, this is just held us hostage. That's really it.
Well, Ben, that brings me into my last question. And Jeff, I apologize for dominating that. It's exciting for me to see a fresh face and a fresh voice. So 150 state reps, 31 senators. You've got to get their buy-in. You've got to get their vote. You got to play the politics with them. Any thought process there. So basically 181 partners, so to speak, that you need to get things done. Just like on council, you've got to be able to count to 4. On council, you've got to be able to get the majority of those. What's the thought process there, Ben?
So I just said that I don't like partisan politics, right? And there's a certain branch of those politics where it's like revenge politics or punishment politics, right?
Okay.
That reps from one party or the other, depending who's in power. Well, mostly right now Republicans. They get blackballed from putting any legislation forward.
I know.
I'm not saying that's what I'm doing. I'm just telling what the status quo is.
Sure. Right.
Somebody, I won't mention who, mentioned this, a story where they basically said they were going to be walked off the grounds of the legislature, right? And to come back next year, and none of the legislation, thank you, would be heard or listened to that session, right? Now, I don't like those games. I believe we're all adults.
All right.
Hopefully, right? And at the end of the day, I think I mentioned it. I'll work with anybody, regardless of affiliation, right, that wants to improve the lives of Texans, like right now.
Okay.
Not, some pet issue where they go back and forth and all of a sudden we put restriction signs on bathroom doors. I'm like, now that is not to say, because somebody said to me, well, that the lieutenant governor holds more power. Why don't you run for that? I'm like, that's all fine and good. But at the end of the day, the governor has line item veto.
Yeah, there you go.
And if I was to feel like, this is a waste of time because it's a waste of money. You guys wasted this much debate time. And I'll be honest with him from the get-go. I'm like, you guys, look, these are the rules again. Very simple. We're going this direction. If there's something you feel strongly, I'll listen to you. Maybe there's something I'm missing, right? I'm always up for learning. Contrary to popular belief, I don't know everything. That was my dad. And I'm open to learning. I've learned so much from members of the council, from even Scotty, the city manager.
Sure.
How the different things work and whatnot. And, I had gone in with one idea, and, you've seen me. Sometimes I come out of the chute running, right?
I know.
And I've learned to hey, wait, look, this is where I'm going to come from. Can you educate me? Let me grasp it a little better. So I'm willing to do that, right? My wife gives me a hard time because she said that, from the get-go, you trust everyone. You expect the best of people. And I do. I want to see every human being succeed. I do. And then I get let down. But that's my approach. Honestly, I seek to learn. Both Jeff and Lydia have helped me before. They're and I'm like, yeah, thanks for teaching me how to do this. Right? You as well. We have plenty of conversations.
Yeah.
I know there's things that you and I don't agree on, and that's pretty cool, right? But you tell me like, oh, that works that way, this and that. And honestly, that is my approach. So that's how I've approached my campaign. I've met with reps. I've gone with different outside groups outside of the Democratic Party and just, seeking their input, right? It's like, hey, we have this issue. How would you go about it? And I'm sure the reps will feel very strongly about some X piece of legislation. Sure. And as long as it doesn't really hurt Texans' rights and it advances the future, I think we're off to a good start.
I got one question before you go. I know you've been on for a while, Ben, and thank you for staying. One of the biggest things going on right now, I know you're Hispanic, my wife's Hispanic, and the question always comes up, immigration right now. We haven't really hit on that and talked about. What's your feelings on how it's being handled in the state of Texas?
Oh, man. The eye topic. Well, for those of the audience that don't know, I was on visa when I moved to the United States back in the mid 90s. And that was just because the FBI took too damn long to process my fingerprints. And I said that little tidbit because I was gonna say I'm a fan of the process. I'm the rule of law, right? That's what the process was. That they said, hey, you can stay, you just can't leave, and that's how I started. That is to say that there is a process, right, to go about it. I'm in support of that. I'm also very realistic in that the system is broken. Completely 100% broken, and both parties are responsible for it. There's been plenty of times where the Democrats have had full control. The same thing with the Republicans, full control, where they could have made the change. I think about 3 weeks ago, the E-Verify system was up on the floor, basically to make every single employer have to do it. It didn't pass. And pointing out it was Republicans, right? So if the Republican party right now, or Mr. Trump, is saying, hey, let's go after this because immigration is like, wait, you had the opportunity to have that enforced. Now, I made a statement in early June at the council regarding this. So you asked me specifically, what do you think of the way things are being done right now regarding immigration? I think is wrong, because what we were told is that they would be going after violent criminals, right?
Correct.
And trust me, go after any violent criminal you want, regardless of status. I'm not going to be telling Chief Rodriguez, sorry, no, don't go after that one. That one's brown, and it has warrants. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I want our streets to be safe, our communities to be safe at night too. I want people to be able to go to sleep at night and, feel good. But picking pregnant women, people out of the courthouse, children, that does nothing to make us any safer, any more secure. Really nothing. It instills fear. I've had people come up to me and like, hey, what's going to happen? They just want... I had a person that were like, I'm afraid to talking or saying something wrong to a white person because they're going to call the cops on me. And he said, and I was born here. How I don't think is right for people to be living like that. That's not the country that I swore allegiance to. Right. Or when I became an elected official, it is not that. So is there can I fix the immigration system? No. But I can tell you what, if you really wanted to do something about it, you didn't pass it in the legislature. Why don't you go pick up the employers out of the HEB, register when they're paying for their groceries? They're going to their gym. All those companies, the CEOs that keep hiring all those illegals, right? Start picking them up, charge them with crimes, aiding and abetting. I know I'm being a little funny about it, but you get the point.
No, you're right, and I don't think that would never happen. Never happen.
Exactly.
You'll never see that. No, and living in Madisonville, Texas, primarily like 88% Hispanic up there. The farm workers and guys that are working up there. The crimes that were committed weren't committed by Mexicans at all. And I'm getting tired of hearing this Mexican thing, Mexican. What about just because they come? It's like just because an Arab comes through Canada doesn't make him a Canadian. That's why a Venezuelan that's coming up through Mexico makes him Mexican. It's not true. And I think people need to be educated a little bit more about how the immigration system is working, where these people are coming from, and not point the blame at one country and those people, because I know those people. I'm related to those people, and I go down to Mexico, and the biggest problem they got, saying, man, here comes these guys from Honduras again, starting trouble, and the cartels and stuff like that. They're from other countries, and because Mexico is such a weakened state by the cartels and afraid, and that's how people live there. So I think our country needs to reach out to these other states, these other countries, and put some, something together, work together to create the stability between the two countries and those people trying to come over here. Why are they trying to come over here? And let's fix that problem and see if we can fix that problem. I know the United States, again, it's not a band-aid for every country, but God dog it, we've been, and it's been working. We've gone to other countries and we've talked to them and negotiated and worked with them. And it just seems like everything's cut off anymore. It's like fend for yourselves and that's it, and I know my wife Lydia said something to somebody who we know just the other day, and that was complaining about immigration, and they need to send them all back and this and that. And she was sitting right there. This is a friend of our family. And my wife looked at her and said this: what effect does it have on you that I'm here? What effect does it have on you that I'm here? And she said, oh, not you.
You're one of the good ones.
No, you're good. It's that guy over there. Well, that guy over there has a multi-million-dollar business. Oh, he does? Oh, I didn't know that. Educate. Mitch and I talk about that, about tax abatements and all that stuff. People are not educated on the things that go on. They're not.
Now, that's not to say, let me just add that I do believe, with having a secure border, the whole nonsense of, open borders, that was nothing. So I'm all for secure border. But I got to tell you this. I know the idea of amnesty is not completely outright rejected, but you have hundreds of thousands of people that have been living here already for a long time, with children that were brought here because of their parents that had no control over, what their future was when they were 2, 3, or whatever. Right. And so that is one thing that needs to be addressed. The other one is a worker program with a path to citizenship. And I say that with the path to that because otherwise it's just a modern day slavery system, right?
Yes.
Being blunt about it. Because we do have the need. And the thing that makes me really laugh when people say, oh, we need to deport everything or everyone. I'm like, oh, I'm fine with that, let alone the cost of that exercise, right? But just be prepared to pay more for all your groceries. Now, I'm not justifying illegal immigration that way, but just that's going to be a side effect of it. I think it's over 50% of the illegal farm workers are in California, which about almost all the produce produced in the United States almost comes from California.
Right.
Actually, Texas has a very low, it has like 5%, at least what's known, of illegal immigration working. One of the lowest states, and people don't know that.
Right.
I've got a proposal. I'm seeing Ben Flores for president and Jeff Michaels for vice president.
I think you're drinking too much of that wine that you have over there in that bottle.
Guys, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank
Ben,
you,
thank you for coming on the show. Good
Thanks,
luck. If you need
Ben.
anything from us, let us know, okay? All right.
I will see you around.
All right.
Y'all take care.
All right. Bye-bye, Ben. There you go. Ben Flores running for governor of the great state of Texas. It's good. It's good stuff, and I bet 3/4 of the city of Bay City has no clue,
I know.
And that's
they don't have they don't have a clue about anything. 3/4 of it. Nobody watches or reads or participates anymore.
I still get phone calls.
That's the whole reason I think you and I are successful on this show. We
pay attention.
We bring attention to it.
Yeah, I still get people that order cheesesteaks from the Bowl Era. Can you believe that? Golly.
I bet.
I don't know. You know what? I think differently about a lot of different things. And like Ben said, if everybody wasn't so partisan, we had more bipartisanship like we did in the 70s and 80s, and work together and argue and work overnight. Let's get this done. We're not going home until we get this done and get it done. Right. And it worked. It worked. Then somewhere along the line here, it just went to shit really bad. I mean, it's just everything just fell out. I feel like I'm the generation, or we are the generation, to watch our government go off the rails.
You may be onto something about generational.
Yeah.
We might have to bring that up next week.
I think we do. Now, go spend time with your lovely wife there in the governor's mansion. Tell the governor I said hi.
I will.
And thanks for letting us get a picture of his chair. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
On behalf of myself, Jeff Michaels, and the lovely and talented Mitch Thames, and Carolyn Thames, the assistant producer for Mitch Thames. She's over there doing something anyway. Have yourselves a great week, and we'll see you next week right here on Inside Texas.